Okay, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the live stream, smarthelping.com. Here, I'm Jay, and we're going to work on product as a service today. Make sure the sound's working. Sounds good. So, we did a little bit of this yesterday at the end of the stream, and we're just trying to think about how to model product as a service. Before I get into this, I wanted to talk about this, I forgot. So first, let me put the link out to Twitter, and then I've got a couple announcements to make.
You can use Monday.com to boost your team's efficiency. And I'm
Oh, I don't know why this reset. Product as a service. Okay. So a couple things. First of all, I updated the way the bulk orders work. So, like, you can buy all the templates on the site for $9.99. You can buy bulk categories. Now, what I'm doing is when you buy a bulk category, you get access to it for life, meaning any new templates that are ever added to that bulk bundle, the template bundle, you have access to. You just say, hey, is there any new templates? And if so, I'll send them over. Uh, and I keep everything updated in folders, so I'll just send you the zip of the latest. And so that applies to all the bundles. Now, the bundle that we're actually updating right now would be the SaaS bundle, and we're updating the product as a service model. There's also a product plus a service subscription model that's different. Both of those are both included in the one-time purchase if you make it. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get into it here. So to review what we did yesterday, we're doing a system where product as a service is the business model. And what that means is you're going to have products that people buy a subscription for that lets them use it and they pay a monthly fee. So it's different than buying products and selling them. Now this model could also involve, a general retail model, or you might have a pool of products that you're selling a subscription to, and you also sell the products on the side. So there's going to be all those functions in this model. Now, for the build out, there's up to 176 slots. Those could be individual purchases or bulk purchases of whatever you're selling access to. And you can define, oh man, I was tired yesterday. I had some spelling errors here. So you could define the purchase month of each tranche, the count of units of each product purchased or built. This could also be manufactured. Yeah, this could be purchased, manufactured month. Then you could define the cost per unit, and then based on total unit count, you've got your total costs here. Then you can define the useful life, and at the end of this month, the product will no longer be available to be used. Now, that's an interesting constraint because it's going to help inform our decision on what's the maximum potential subscribers that could even exist at any one time based on the total products that are available to be used. And so then we started on an algorithm here. So average time a customer uses a product in minutes, the max uses per month, average minutes used per month. Oh, this is a calculation cell. So this is black. So average minutes used per month is just saying if I have X amount of subscribers, they're going to be using 600 minutes worth of time. Now the capacity or the maximum amount of time that can be used would be maximum minutes a product can be used per month here, which again, this is another formula, just taking the total. What did we do here? This is an input. No, this is an input. This is input. I just did a formula to figure out, assuming, uh, 12 hours a day, 30 days in a year, and 60 minutes in an hour. No, what did I say? 30 days in a month, 60, 12, average day has 12 hours of use time, 60 minutes per hour, and then 30 days in a month. So those are just multiplied to get your maximum usage. And this is what an average customer uses. So in this tranche, um, for these 5 units, what we're saying is the maximum available time that can be subscribed to use these products is 21,600 minutes, and average minutes used per month per customer would be 600. So then we do a calculation here saying max customers subscribed per unit. We take 21,000 divided by 600, and then max customers per the tranche is just multiplying that number by the total count. So here you can now see we've got a constraint saying um, these 5 units, we can support up to or five. Where am I? I don't know. Oh, my brain, man. Is saying we can do a max of 36 subscribers for this tranche. And then max customers, or no, sorry, 180. You can do 36 per unit, and then this tranche has 5, so you can do 180. Now, where do we go from here? Well, now we can figure out um, a sales and marketing plan and onboarding customers, and we can do a maximum. We know what the maximum amount of customers that can exist will be based on all those constraints, which is pretty cool. Um, okay, so that I'm just thinking if there's anything else we need on here. So the interesting thing is you can figure out, well, what am I paying for these units? And then what's their useful life? What are they producing in revenue, based on these calculations? Now, we can do a maximum. Let's see, how do we say this? We can do a maximum. Well, no, we'd have to put a price. Let's think about this. So we got to think about price. Um, and I'm wondering what we can figure that to. Probably. Excuse me. I think I inhaled something off my mic. Oh, um, we'll do a pricing configuration here. Ugh, pricing. No, let's just call this revenue. So we have all these assumptions we're going to use to figure out what's available, what's the constraint. We also want to do, how many customers are we adding over time? This is going to be up to a 10-year model. And let me get over here real quick. Okay, so what we want to define is we know our product set. We're going to say average. Let's just go 10 years here. We're not putting in any timing assumptions in yet, just some general uh, logic. All right, I want to say monthly subscription. Now, what we can do is maybe give different tiers of, like, if you pay X $5 a month, maybe you get to use X amount of minutes. If you pay $20 a month, maybe you get more minutes. So I think we can granulate a couple different pricing tiers, and maybe those tiers include something else as well. So we'll do 3 tiers, up to 3 tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and we want to define a couple things here. We want to put number 1, what are they paying per month? Now these monthly subscribers could definitely churn. There'll be a cohort or like a retention rate on these customers that will drive the total ending count. All kinds of stuff here. So monthly subscription pricing, and let's just say maybe $4 a month, 10, and 18. Again, I'm just making up these numbers. And what we'll do is compare the revenue generated against, our initial costs, and we're going to get some kind of analysis. We'll also have operating costs and all kinds of other things here, but you get the basic premise. Revenue assumptions. Okay. So pricing, which could change over time. Uh, we've got percentage customers per tier. So I have to define somehow how many customers are in tier 1, 2, or 3, and these are mutually exclusive. So maybe 25, 50, 25, and these have to equal 100. Okay. So what we're saying here is that we've got a monthly subscription. We've got a breakdown of different customers in each subscription tier. Now, what else? We want churn rate, but we'll do retention. That's going to be separate. So what we're charging, breakdown. Ah, so if we're going to say, so here's the average time customer uses a product, we're not gonna use this because we're gonna define this by tier. I'll keep this here for now though, just in case. So we want to put on average over time, average minutes used per month. So whatever they're buying a subscription to, we have to try to figure out how much how much time they're using the product for. That's going to be our main way that we're defining or separating the pricing. So let's say, if you do tier 1 $4 a month, that gets you, you know, wherever the product is, you can do it for, um, well, we've got minutes or uses. We have to define, we have to find some, what's the best high level way to do this? Um, it's either you, because it could be anything. I'm just trying to make a general template. So like if they're washing machines, it's probably uses is more important, but then you have to figure out a max usage per month that is feasible. I think it's got to be minutes is the most granular data point. Like how many total minutes do you get on average? So let's say if you're paying $4 a month, Maybe that gets you 120 minutes. And if you're paying more, let's say you get 240, and the max, let's say 360. So now, and if we converted it to hours, we'll just do a quick calculation here. So this is the amount of hours you get per month based on that pricing. Now I know this probably isn't going to, and the deal with the model is I'm trying to do things where it might not fit everything perfectly, but it can fit a lot of things in some general way with relevant assumptions here. So again, they have the option to change over time if you needed it to, but we're trying to figure out some general constraints on customer usage that makes sense. So average minutes, they're using whatever the product is per month, per tier, the amount in hours, and this I'll do this all tiny, smaller text here, and this is like connected. Okay, so if I go in here and say, well, I can use this unit for 6 hours a month, and I only have to pay $18 a month. There's the dynamic, essentially. Now, what we have to measure that against is what's the maximum customers that can be supported based on the maximum capacity of minutes that these products can be used for in a given month, which is a defined number. Here, I just made it based on 12 hours usage availability per day times 30 days in a month, and then 60 minutes per hour. So that gets you 21,000 minutes available to use. We don't need these customer constraints. We actually just did on the other place, so this is not relevant. Do we want to put this here though? No, we don't need this. We don't need this. So let's delete these. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. We're modeling product as a service. And what product as a service means is you have some product and you're giving that product, allowing customers to pay some monthly subscription for access to the product or whatever the product benefit is. This has been researched since the early 90s, but the reason why it's become more popular in the past couple of years is because people are starting to apply the product as a service model to new things that were not normally done in the past. So, because of that, I'm trying to build a really general model to, see what the business could look like based on your initial costs to build out these product tranches, and then what you're going to charge customers for access to those products. And there's a lot of capacity stuff in here, all kinds of stuff. So it's exciting. I'm pumped. Welcome on in, guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. And I will take suggestions if you have comments on any of this logic. Feel free to comment, and I'll check it out. This is, you know, like I said, it's pretty academic. It's been in the academic papers for a long time, but it's starting to get used in a lot of different ways. So that's why I feel like a model here is relevant. Um, all right, so we've got what the people are paying to access the product, different tiers for different usage rates. Um, Now we can put in retention here, and I'll put this. This is going to be, and everything's over 10 years because you might have strategies that involve improvement over time, like say retention. And if a customer joined in a given year, they're going to have a different retention rate potentially. So a lot of SaaS style metrics here. Welcome, guys. Welcome into the stream. Good to see you in here. Good to see you. Good to see you. So retention rate, what we want to say is average time a customer is exists for, and usually these are month-to-month contracts or agreements where a customer will just pay and they cancel anytime. It's not really going to be enterprise like customers where they've got a specific length of time. Uh, Now, I do have that logic, but we're not going to do that here. So retention rate is average life of a customer. We'll just put that actually average life of a customer. And then we're going to pull all these numbers into a monthly schedule, and then we're going to compare the amount of subscribers that are existing based on an acquisition schedule. And we can compare that to our maximum capacity based on our build out of uh, products. So it's going to be really interesting. Very interesting. I've never done anything like this, and I think it's super valuable to have. All right. So average life of a customer, let's say, for tier one, maybe it's longer, maybe, 6 years, maybe tier two's 5 years, and tier three's maybe 2 years, whatever the case is. Now, what I can do is we're going to apply a straight line retention curve to this. So we simply say here, monthly churn for tier one, two, and three. And that'll just be the amount of years. Well, it'll be 1 divided by the number of months this equals. So this times 12. So in this case, you're losing on average 1.39% per month in customers that joined. And this could vary for each year. Okay, now I've done other models where you can have a retention curve that's dynamic, like maybe month 1 through 3, you lose 50% of the customers. In month 4 through 10, you lose 20%, and it's a different curve. But normally in these situations, the most straightforward way is you do a straight line depreciate or a straight line loss rate between uh, based on what your average life of a customer is. So we're going to use that here. Now the 3 tiers, we're assuming they all have different retention curves, so we'll have to do 3 different matrix tabs here when we go into the actual customer counts and all of that logic. Uh, I'll be using best in practice. Now, what some people do is they'll apply a churn rate to the percentage of the previous month balance. That is not accurate. It's a way to do it, but it's not as accurate as doing cohorts based on monthly levels. So we're doing the most accurate possible way to model retention of customers. Okay, so we've got all this stuff. Now we also need to figure out, well, how are we going to gain customers? We have the pricing, but what about acquisition? And I believe there's probably a couple different channels we can do here. So we can say ad spend, spending a certain amount per month. Let's say $10,000. Now you spend $10,000 a month on ads, and you say, well, on average, what is my sign up rate? Or what is my cost per acquisition? Let's say it's $50. Well, if you spend $10,000 and on average it costs you $50 to sign up a new customer, you are signing up 200 new customers with $10,000. Or if your CPA is, $200, then you're signing up 50, let's say it's $250, you're signing up 40 customers per month at $10,000 ad spend. So we can define that for each of the 10 years, and maybe your conversion rate gets better over time, or your CPA goes down. Um, so we'll have a couple different sources of new customers. Customers added per month is that number. Now we also want to say, well, there's other channels. You can have a website, organic growth. Usually that takes longer, but it's more, the return on investment's better. So we can have organic customer growth. Now for this, we simply just apply a number. So we say, how many customers are we adding per month on organic growth? Let's say, I don't know, we start at maybe 6, just some number. And we're going to have to constrain, so we'll have these assumptions, but there's going to be constraints based on these max minute capacity. So that's where this model is going to get real interesting, because you can apply these assumptions, but then if it gets past the limit that, you know, you can't sell a million subscriptions to like 2 products. Like a million people can't use these 2 products over time. So you obviously have to have constraints on the max customers that can exist. Um, Now that's a very interesting, because you don't want to spend too much. Like you don't want to put a spend in that gets you way more customers than you can handle. So all those metrics will have to be brought back to this assumption tab, so you can see when you start to change these, what does that mean based on how many products you're actually allowing or have available for people to be using. So a lot of considerations here. So organic customer growth, let's say we have, let's put a space in here. We'll have starting customers added per month organic. And let's say you start with 6, and then we want to say average growth of new customers added organic. And then maybe it's 6 and you grow, let's say you need a percentage. Let's say every month you grow that by 2%. So in month 1 it's 6, in month 2 it's 2% more than 6, in month 3 it's 2% more than that, etc. and it compounds. So that's a nice way to drive new customers. And then we'll just define every new customer that's added will be going into tier 1, 2, or 3 as far as the pricing. Okay, we also want to have a start month when all of this begins, and we can just apply that globally. Let's see, I don't even have a global assumptions tab yet, so we'll have to add that. Really trying to focus on just the base logic first. Um, but I do want to put a start month in here, so let's bring in that tab. So here, I'm just getting this. This is pretty much the same on all the templates, and it's just defining the timing of the model. Some high level things. So here, the point is we have a launch year, let's say 2023. I'll get rid of this. All these calcs will have to be done separately. I'm not worried about that and all of this stuff. Okay. So yeah, now I've got some, I can get a little bit of timing in here. We'll do our validation for the month options for starting. And this will be our target for all the drop downs for dates if we have date inputs. And we're going for 10 years, so 2032. Oop. go to data validation. We want to say the start month could be any date. Here, obviously, it's not going to be that far in the future, but you can pick it. Let's say April 2023 is actually when we begin, the ad spend. We launch the product. We start because we have a separation here between when when we are going to start acquiring customers versus what products we have actually available. And so we're defining the products available based on a start month of 1 through 20, not an actual date. It's just, whatever year you have the start year in, so 2023, January would be month 1, February is month 2. So based on knowing that, you would just define those months here. And so that's the available, this will drive available capacity for people to subscribe to whatever product you have. And then this separately will say, well, when do you actually have customers going on? And why I think it's probably best to separate these two is because it's very possible that it's going to take you some time to get this if you're manufacturing these things or you're coming on board over time or whatever the case, you might have a gap between when you have these products ready and when you actually start having customers. So we're going to put customer start month here. And again, I'm flying a bit blind as far as this because I know there's and with any model I build because I know there's a million different ways to do every single thing and everyone does it differently. But I have to try to think what are very high level assumptions that we can apply here that make sense for almost any situation without getting into too much detail or excluding different things. So that's the challenge of any model. And this is a very very interesting one. This product as a service. Uh, so so we have this. So customer start month. This will define when all this stuff starts taking place. We have traffic from ad spend, cost per acquisition, customers added per month based on that. We also have organic growth. Now, is there any other sales channels that would make sense? I mean, word of mouth is counted in here. Um, we basically have ads and organic. I don't know if there's any other acquisition channel that would make sense here. And again, this is like the I don't know why every time I look this up, the example that the academic papers use is washing machines. Like you build or buy a bunch of washing machines and you sell people the rights to use those, come and use and clean their clothes, and they pay some monthly fee to do that. Now it's a little bit like the rental business, but the main difference I was reading about of why this is different than the rental is because rental stuff usually has terms and contracts, and this is just month to month. You're paying for, in the theory behind the whole product as a service the theories of why it's good. There's a couple reasons. One, it's supposed to be more efficient. It's supposed to be less energy intensive because you can let 20 people use the same product every month rather than 20 people using their own product every month. So it's supposed to be, environmentally friendly. That's what a lot of the academic papers say. Also, the whole idea is, can you make more money by selling you're switching from selling a you're not selling a product, you're selling a benefit. So that's the focus of the sales target is changed from here's some nice washing machines. Instead, you're saying, hey, here is a way to get your clothes cleaned. Pay me this month per month, and you can get your clothes cleaned. And so the marketing is a bit different with this than the traditional retail product, as because this is a subscription. It also, academics are saying that this is better for product, like the companies are going to make the product better because they know if they make it last longer, the return on investment is going to be higher. So they make better products. So there's a lot of theories behind this and reasons why I wanted to model this. Okay. Anyway, so we have our start month. We have acquisition channels here. If anyone has any um, suggestions on any more, I'll be happy to vet the ideas. We have then, based on those customers coming on board, they're going to pay a monthly fee based on how many customers are in each tier. We then have the amount of usage of minutes, and that's why everything's broken down in this model into minutes. So we're saying how many minutes are these customers going to use the product for per month, and then what's our maximum capacity of minutes based on what we're building out. So those are like the two combating uh, metrics we have to compare to each other to make sure this is going to make sense. Okay. Then we have retention of customers. That's all going to be applied as well to figure out the month ending customer counts of each tier. Um, build out. I'm trying to think if there's any other base logic we need here that we're missing. So this drives customer acquisition and what they're paying when they exist and how long they exist for. Then this is showing you your build out of products that you're going to be selling a subscription to use, the cost, useful life, and essentially the capacity per unit. Now here we probably also want to say a unit. Max minutes a unit can be used for per month. Unit count. All right. So this is good. Description, purchase month, unit count, cost. I'm trying to think of in general, are there any other metrics that make sense here to put on the purchase schedule? Or and you could be manufacturing these, you could be buying them from a wholesaler, whatever, what have you. The point is you get to some cost per unit. And again, what we're doing is shifting the asset. We're shifting the this from a inventory item to a fixed asset item on the balance sheet. So inventory, you buy it, you hold it in inventory, then you resell it. That's the traditional retail model. For product as a service, you get acquire the product some way, and then it sits on your balance sheet as a fixed asset. You have depreciation instead of a cost of goods sold, and then you're selling subscriptions to that asset. So it shifts. That's how you're shifting on the balance sheet over, and you'll see that when we get to the end. Now, I also want to model out an option where it's a retail sales, so you can compare selling the products, buying and selling the products versus selling the subscription to the products uh, in the same model. So we'll do that at the end. First, I want to get through the subscription side of things first. So yeah, because I think this is important. The other side is going to be pretty simple to model. This is the more complex. All right. Well, we have these. We can go ahead and start on. Let's start structuring the actual monthly detail. And for this, I'll just use. Let me get this out of here. We'll just use a regular monthly detail top section here. I just want the top part. Okay, very nice to have some templates on hand that I can pull from for different pieces of logic. Let's drag this out. So this will just be first month. and we're going over for 10 years, so 2032. Keep in mind, guys, if you didn't know, I am updating the terms on any bundle, template bundle that I have. And if you purchase it, it grants you access to any template that is ever added to the bundle in the future. And that goes for the all model template bundle and all the different bundles, individual bundles as well. Okay, so this is 10 years. Let's get our spacing. 15. All right. Well, and it so happened unit production is actually one of the first sections we'll probably have here because we want our build out. This is going to drive the max capacity. So let's think about this. Do we need advanced, question one, do we need advanced metrics or advanced logic to handle all of this? Um, let's think about it. So we want to know how, yeah, I mean, yes. Okay, it's not even a question. So we need to do a matrix tab for sure to know what exists over time. And I love doing these matrices tabs. So here we'll just have, let's see, we have cohorts. So we'll go down. Yeah, we'll just go down. Man, 176 is a lot. Now, all of these products are technically part of the offering of the subscription. I'm wondering if I could just do a cohort by month. Let's think. Let's think here. We need to know how many units exist and this capacity, and then the cost that can be done easily. Let's think. Let's think. We do need to know useful life. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna have to go individual tranches here. Okay, so we'll have time going to the right. So these are months. I don't think we need years. Freeze this here. So we have 120 months going to the right. Now this stuff is if you're into financial modeling, what I'm doing now is, people will pay you a lot of money to do this kind of stuff. A lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, so we've got time going to the right. We have our individual tranches here going down. How many did I have? Like 170? 76. Okay, so what we want to know is number one, the age. And so we simply say if the time here is greater than, actually is equal to the purchase month of the tranche, then 1, otherwise 0. So this is our first test. And then to count forward dynamically, we simply drag that over, but then we say if B3 is greater than 0, then do B3 plus 1. So that's the algorithm. So we can dynamically count the age of each one. So you can see if we go down here, as they come on, you know, we should, oh wait, we got to freeze, and we need to freeze column C and B2. Okay, B3 can go, B3 can go, C2 is locked, and D is locked. Okay, so now if we drag this over and down, there we get our nice schedule. So these started in month 1, these start in month 4, and then they count forward. And we have to know the count age because we're doing useful life here. And then you'll see if we just take this formula all the way over. Being able to do dynamic references on the same timeline is super, super, super valuable. And then we can reference this and do all kinds of calculations. So we have an issue though. We are, it looks like, what are we missing? Something's not right. Let's see, C2, build out D4. These are starting in month 4. We should be starting 6, 7, 8. It should be staggered. So there is a, let's see, what do we do with this logic? I'm a little nervous that I told everyone this is so important, and now I messed up on it. Let's see. If B2 equals build out C4, then 1. C5, C6. Okay. So that makes sense because these are all in month 1. But then the next one's in month 6. So C9, where's my C9 reference? C9 here. Why is this D? Ah, because I drug it over once before. Okay, so there we go. So that needs to be a C, and then we should get our stagger. There it is, perfect. Okay. Sometimes you just got to think through it piece by piece. Now you can see we have our couple tranches starting month 1, then we got one in 6, and then 7, 8, etc., and we're staggering over here. And so that's the age of each tranche, which we need to know because they have a useful life. Um, so the next part we do is we can easily reference. So we drag this down. And this will be probably 1,000 rows worth of logic or more, but it's going to be necessary. So we have here is active. So active would mean it is onboarded and it's before the useful life is up. So we just do an and if and this is greater than 0, and this is less than or equal to useful life defined here. If those two things are true, then we are active. So it is an active unit. We go 1, otherwise 0. Now here we want to lock G going over, and then that's it. So all the 1s mean active. And this should go for 84 months. So if we go over here, it should stop after 84. And there you see at month 85, it's 0. And this uses this month because it's the first month of the forecast that's active. If we go down a little bit, you can see the next ones start to stagger. So this one's active till month 90, then month 91, etc. And that's because they started later and they have the same useful life. Now, why are we at 0 for 176? Ah, because the purchase month. Okay, so obviously we can't buy them after. Let's just lock it at like say 50 is the last month of buying any of these. Again, arbitrary assumption. And then we go over here. There we go. So month 50, we go all these, and they're active through the model because there's more than 84 months left at that time. All right, so we have age. And let's just actually insert a row here. So this is the age. This is month number. So time going across. We have age and we have if it's active or not. Now, what else do we need to know? Well, at any given point in time of the model, we need to know what's the maximum capacity of minutes available to be subscribed to. And then we can compare that to the customer counts. And as long as the customer counts aren't over that, it doesn't have to limit, but if it is, we do have to limit, and that is where the model is going to get really interesting comparing those two things. So we go active, then we say max capacity, and this has to be a separate um, thing too, because potentially there's different capacities of each level. And to do this dynamically, we simply say if the active trigger is 0, then 0. Otherwise, we want to take this number, which is our total active monthly active minutes available. So that's it. So there's 21,000 available minutes of usage, and that's going to be different. Oh wait, this is per unit. So we need to add a thing here, maximum minutes per tranche. So that is then multiplying total minutes per unit times total units. So this is actually the maximum capacity of that existing tranche. And I can reference that. So it's I4 and then going down. So we want to calculate I4, not H4. Okay, looks good. And then to aggregate all of them, all the activity together, and this general methodology I'm doing here, this could be applied to all kinds of different things. And thick bottom. And it's a very accurate way to do forecast and get your numbers right based on the assumptions that are being used. So we have total capacity in minutes over time. It's this, and this is based on the build out. We need to extend here. Okay, so if we know that, we can bring it over. We also need to know, so costs are easy. We can do some stuff here. We could just say total purchases or um, build cost, however you want to say it. And that's just going to be a simple sum ifs. Total cost in F if the purchase month here, come on, in C is equal to the month here. Now, what I would say and what's important to understand is once you know a couple of the base foundations in logic and kind of ways to structure stuff in Excel, I'm not getting that complex. I'm not doing VBA. I'm not doing all kinds of craziness. But where the value then becomes is your ability to understand systems and then use what you know in Excel to try to make, something like this where you can have a bunch of dynamic assumptions and create. So the value is, I mean, you don't need to be super expert in Excel, but it's really about how you can structure assumptions and apply some Excel knowledge and get something that makes sense. And that's where I found to be the most valuable thing over, this I've made a career is doing that. So yes, you need to know some Excel things, but also you have to understand structure. Like I'm not using all the advanced, shortcuts. I'm not super efficient, like, uh, doing all kinds of different fancy things. I just know the basic formulas and I understand how they can be structured to produce something that's easy to use. And the knowledge of the system that you're modeling is to me, you only need to know so much Excel, and then it becomes just a point of understanding what you're modeling and how you can use Excel to make that work. Okay, so we got an issue here. Why am I not getting sum F if C is that month? What's going on here? So F if C is month. Ah, there's nothing until month 6. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. So this is working. So here's my cost. Now remember, these costs are going on to fixed assets. These are fixed assets instead of, so in product as a service, you have fixed assets. In a regular retail model, you do not have fixed assets. You have inventory. So in a retail model, you buy or you acquire these, you manufacture these or buy them through a wholesaler or whatever, hold them in inventory. So they hit the inventory on the balance sheet, and then they go out to um, when you sell them, they leave inventory, and you make a profit against the cost of goods sold. That's different. Now we have fixed assets with depreciation expense, and so there's a lot of dynamics here that we get to model. Um, but yeah, this and guys, I'll be doing this all week. I think I'm gonna go. It's about 11 o'clock, and I just need a break. So we'll continue this tomorrow. I stream every day at 10 a.m. Eastern on the weekdays. Uh, if you want to check out more templates, you go to smarthelping.com. I've got the model we're doing now, the product as a service, is going to be included in this bundle um, for 289, or you could buy it separately. The cost will be 75, and it's similar to this product plus service model, which I did a couple years ago. This is more so manufacturing products that have a service subscription upgrade to it, so the customer buys the product and the service subscription. But what I'm doing now is completely different, where there's no selling of the product and you just have a subscription to the use of products that the company holds on their balance sheet. So that's the main difference. So anyway, these two, this one and the one I'm doing now, will be you can buy either one. They'll both be included in the one-time purchase, or you can buy the bundle. And remember, guys, you can check out all the models at smarthelping.com under Financial Models tab. You can buy everything I've ever built for $9.99. There's tons of very valuable logic in all these different templates. Um, and there's all kinds of industries I've done here over the years, just hundreds of different things. So super valuable. And I guess that's about all I got for you today. We did a really good job at structuring the assumptions. For the product as a service, we've got all the build out here. We structured revenue. We'll have to pull this into the monthly detail tomorrow. We'll just keep on grinding on it until we're done. But thanks for stopping by, man. We've got the yeah, it's been really good here. 348 views, a really good stream. Awesome, uh, awesome to see you guys in here. Like I said, I've had a long time where I've only had a couple people, couple viewers, for years. And I don't know if the last couple of weeks, for somehow, I've just gotten a lot more people to view, and that's awesome. So thanks for stopping in. You can support me. Check out smarthelping.com. I've got all sorts of templates, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern.